Hey Westland, I'm your host, Kylie Zeman. As you can see, after a year of being off campus, we are back to school in person. On this spring edition of The Breakdown, we have a teacher in office, plans to go back to school, and sports updates. All this and more on The Breakdown. We start out today with pop culture. Nowadays, most movie theaters are closed due to COVID restrictions, and big chains are closing temporarily. So, what does that mean for 2020 releases? Aiden explains here.
The film industry is struggling, and big companies with potential big releases are trying to figure out ways to make a profit.
Warner Bros. Set a spotlight in this as they have announced that many of their big releases will have screenings in theaters and on the streaming service HBO Max. So far, Judas and the Black Messiah, Wonder Woman 1984 have both done this, and have both received a lot of attention in theaters and on the service. And feature movies such as The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and Godzilla vs. Kong will also do this. However, Denis Villeneuve, director of Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners, and the highly anticipated film Dune, an epic science fiction novel based on one of the most famous novels of the genre, has fought back against Warner Bros.' plan, which is planning to release the film in theaters and on HBO Max on October 1st. Villeneuve has said that Dune is about cinema and audiences. AT&T is about its own survival on Wall Street. With HBO Max's launch a failure thus far, AT&T decided to sacrifice Warner Bros.' entire 2021 slate in a desperate attempt to grab the audience's attention. And speaking on the importance of this, Denis said, "Dune is by far the best movie I have ever made. My team and I devoted more than 3 years of our lives to make it a unique big screen experience. Our movie's images and sound were meticulously designed to be seen in theaters."
Denis is currently fighting for the theatrical release of Dune so that audiences can experience Dune on the big screen how it is intended and aid the future of the theater-going experience as a whole. Reporting for WLHS Now, this is Aiden Erdo.
Next up, we have another sports update from Meg.
This year's sports are finally happening, and so far so good. Right now we have soccer, volleyball, cross country, and football in full swing. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, protocols are different from years past. Student athletes are required to wear their masks from the second they get out of the car until they get back in. Masks are allowed to be taken down for a short moment for water. While masks are down, athletes are to stay 6 feet away from each other, and masks go up when finished. At the entrance of every facility, there are multiple QR codes available for students to scan to check in so we can have tracing if there were to be a COVID outbreak or a student who gets the virus. The QR code is a Google form that could vary by your sport with a few questions about your name, location, team, and symptoms of the virus. At home games, each athlete is allowed a certain amount of fans depending on their sport. Westland staff controls this by checking up names at the entrance of the facility. There's also a QR code for fans to fill out as well when they come in for tracing. Fans are only allowed to attend home games. For away games or any other fans who want to watch the game, there is free live broadcasting for all OSAA sports on NFHS. NFHS provides free streaming. All you have to do is make an account and all the games are right there, really easily accessible. For away games, buses are still provided for student-athlete transportation with masks and social distancing practiced throughout the whole bus. Starting the first week of April, we have more sports starting back up. We can't wait to see more athletes get out there after such a long break. Keep practicing good, safe habits so we can continue to keep everyone safe, Lions. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Meg Duvall reporting for WLHS Now.
We are back to in-person school almost exactly a year after we had left. I head to the streets to hear students' thoughts about reopening.
This past year has definitely been one to remember. Students' education and learning has been a challenge, finding out how to educate safely and stay in school. Due to the pandemic, we haven't been back to in-person school in almost a year. Today, I interviewed students to find out their reactions to going back to school in person.
My name is Bliss McLaughlin, and I'm in 12th grade.
I'm Ashlyn Atack, and I'm in 9th grade.
It's been a little hard recently to stay motivated in school on Zoom, so going back is going to be good.
I have not really enjoyed being on Zoom, and it's kind of impacted my life negatively just because I feel like my grades have kind of gone down since then. I basically just sit at my desk and take notes there or do my assignments on Google Classroom while having the Zoom in the background.
I was thinking about it the other day. I'm actually really excited to just be back in the classroom, just watching the actual teacher teach instead of just looking at a screen.
I'm going back to in-person so that I can see my friends more and spend more time with people and do better in school. Make sure you're prepared, have all your supplies ready,
stay safe, appreciate that you're there and that you have the opportunity to be in school. And yeah, just stay safe in this pandemic.
Many people rode their bikes or read books to stay busy during quarantine. Mr. Jones, however, ran for city council. Here's Caden with the story.
As a result of the 2020 local elections, former city councilor Jules Walters won the office of mayor, leaving an open position for city council until May. Among those who ran is Todd Jones, longtime Westland High School social studies teacher.
I see so many opportunities for things we could be doing in the city that we're not doing. I finally wanted to be on the inside instead of the outside to see if we can try to see some of these things actually become realities. I'm only 2 weeks into it. Matter of fact, I've only had one public meeting so far, but it's been a good experience. I really like the other people that are on the council. They're smart, they're inquisitive, they're caring.
His temporary time in office is leading him to split time between teaching and city council. How does he do it?
My first priority is to my profession and to my job and to the students of West Lynn. So I will never do city work during the school day. When I'm here, I'm focused on you. And I've explained that to all the people I work with. I said, don't expect an answer from me before 3:30 because it's not going to happen.
Even after the first 2 weeks, Jones has plans for the future.
I will, yes. I've already filed and doing all those things you have to do to persuade voters that you're a good choice.
Serving with Jones is newly elected city councilor and Westland alumni Rory Bielostowski.
A former Westland High School graduate is on the city council. He was elected back in November. There were 10 people trying out for 2 positions, and he was one of the 2 that won election, and he was actually the person that garnered the most votes.
If you want to learn more about city councilor Mr. Jones, visit WLHS Now for more. This has been Caden Kesselring.
Let's see what Mr. Jones can do to keep that spot on the city council. Chasing a sense of normalcy, students are traveling in and out of state for spring break. Let's catch up with James to hear more.
While the storm has settled for the most part, the pandemic is far from over. The upcoming spring break, however, may give some much-needed reprieve. Starting through the 20th and ending on the 28th, there will be a whole 9 days off of school. While the aforementioned pandemic is still happening, restricting many activities, here are a few ideas to get you started. You can always get a gathering of friends, though the maximum recommended amount is 10. With the weather slowly warming up, this is the perfect time to go for a run or bike ride. Taking on the hobby of birdwatching is also another perfect activity during the quarantine. While it's not much, with those in mind, you can forge your own schedule for the break. Besides having school off, there's another plus to the long break. A University of Michigan study suggests that the break from school may provide a boost in mental health. In their study regarding the issue, 83% of students polled claimed that their emotional and mental health negatively impacted their school performance. The pandemic, coupled with school expectations, also seemed to negatively impact their mind. This complete fatigue may at least be remedied by a week off. This is James Webster reporting for WLHS Now.
If a pandemic and extreme fires weren't enough, Westland also experienced an extreme ice apocalypse. Here's Max with a look back.
ice storm we've seen in 50 years, and hundreds of thousands of people are without power tonight.
The latest numbers from PGE showing 288,000 without electricity.
This has got to be the most wildest scene I've seen in any neighborhood so far during this snow and ice storm. This is West Lynn, where neighbors tell me at one point they had about an inch thick of ice on these trees that came crashing down. They've also been without power since late last week.
They're warning it could be as much as 10 days before everybody is back online. Crews from Nevada and Montana are even here helping out. Pacific Power also has around 35,000 customers without power, and Clark County PUD reports more than 6,000 outages.
The heavy ice has been bringing down trees, causing lots of damage and several outages.
It's definitely been a long year for sure, but happy spring, Lions, and keep checking back to WLHS Now for more episodes and a new edition of The Amplifier. Thank you for watching. I'm Kylie Zeman, and this has been Your Breakdown.